Okay, just waiting on people to join. For those of you who find this at some other time, this retreat is the culmination of some of my students have been with me about 3 or 4 years. But this particular retreat is the culmination for some of these students of about a year's worth of instructions. So the techniques are actually quite easy to teach and relatively easy to learn, but they're difficult to do. So if you're watching this asynchronously, if you're watching this just by recording, start to set your posture, prepare the body. Just begin setting your posture, preparing the body. Hello, hello. All right. Since we have a couple people, we'll go ahead and get started. So, the technique that we're doing at the moment, again, is intensive breath meditation. The notes for that are in the description below. In brief, place your mind on whichever nostril has the most intense sensations at the moment. So, breathe in. You'll feel that one nostril has more intense sensations. Place your mind there on the most sensitive portion inside the nostril. That's where your attention is going to be for the session. And then you're going to count like this. You breathe in, breathe out, and then count one. And when you count one, be very, very sort of quick. Visualize the number one about fist distance in front of you, arm distance, and about the level of your third eye, right? Your forehead ish here. All right. And so you'll count from 1 to 7, 7 to 0, and then at 0, you take a very short break and just sort of look at your mind. You can adjust your posture a bit if needed, and then you carry on and you do it again. 1 to 7, 7 to 0, 1 to 7, 7 to 0. The key is extremely high intensity, as if your life depends upon it. And the reason for that was described in one of the earlier videos on the 9 stages of meditation. Specifically, we're working on accomplishing the first 2 in these sessions. So, without further ado, we'll begin. Okay, set the posture and begin. Okay. Take a short break. If you have questions, put them in the chat. So, one thing that's quite important is when you look at the 9 stages of meditation, which I covered very briefly, but pretty good in the linked materials for, I think it's video session 4, maybe. Very, very important is that the first 2 stages of training in meditative concentration have to do with being able to get your mind to actually come to rest for a short period of time on the selected object of meditation. So that's the first stage. When you can do that, and as soon as you notice that the mind has gone off somewhere, you can bring it back to the object, then you've achieved the first actual level of capability in meditative concentration. Then, to achieve the second level, fixation with some continuity, you need to be able to place the mind and have it stay there for a period of time. And at that stage, your mind is going to be running around and doing stuff, and you won't even notice most of the time. But as soon as you notice, it's off the object again, you'll be able to bring it back. And during these first 2 stages, and this is where so many people go wrong when they first get started, actually, it will seem like there are more thoughts in your mind than ever in your life. It'll seem like your mind has suddenly become a total mess. And that's normal. And it actually means you're making progress because you've noticed what your mind is like for the first time. So during these first 2 stages, which is what this particular practice is about, the reason we're doing a short session with really high intensity is that we're trying to overcome this problem of the mind to jump, right? And that's called mental excitement. So the mind jumps off the object, even though you didn't intend for it to do so, and you have no desire for it to do so, and yet it keeps jumping off and running around, and you can't control it, right? So the reason we're doing high intensity, short sessions with breaks is because it actually takes a lot of energy, and it's not relaxing. It's not relaxing at all at this level of the practice. So if you already have some experience, then maybe your mind mostly stays on the object, and this is a pretty nice exercise. But for most people, this will be very demanding and it won't actually be relaxing. So at this stage, don't worry if your mind is a mess and isn't actually relaxing during the session. Really high intensity, really high effort, the word that's actually used in the text is forceful conveying. You need to bring the mind to the object that you've selected with great intensity. In Zen, they literally say sometimes, imagine someone standing over you with a sword and they're going to cut you if you lose concentration. In the Pali Canon, there's this wonderful analogy where the Buddha says, imagine you had a vessel that was completely filled with oil to the point where it was brimming. Just, like if you tip it at all, it'll spill. And he said, imagine you had to walk through a crowd of people who were jumping up and down and dancing and having a good time. And someone's following behind you, and they say, if you spill even a single drop, I'm going to cut you in half. How hard would you be focusing on holding that jar just perfectly so nothing spilled out? That's the intensity you need to attain the first couple of levels of meditative concentration. So it's not relaxing. And it'll seem like your mind's a total mess if you haven't done this a lot in the past. And this is worth hearing again and again and again. Okay, so let's do our second session, high intensity. Put your mind on the breath. Count from 1 to 7, 7 to 0. A short break at 0, just observe your mind and then do it again. And do your best to get through 3 rounds of breathing. But if you only get through 2 or 1.5 or whatever, it doesn't matter. The key is high intensity. Okay, so set your posture. Don't move the body. Once you have set the posture, except for when you get to 0, you can move around a little bit if you need to. Here we go. Begin. Okay, short break. Okay, set your posture. Again, try to get your legs comfortable, spine comfortable, everything where it should be. Some of you have probably noticed that when I'm sitting, sometimes my posture sort of gets weird. So something's not quite right with my spine or shoulders or neck or something. And when I concentrate, I'm not able to hold things where they should be, and so my body kind of curls up. Okay, here we go. 5 minutes. Place the mind on the breath. High intensity, counting the breath from 1 to 7, 7 to 0, 3 times or as many times as you can without rushing in the course of 5 minutes. Here we go. Begin. So it'll take 90 seconds, 2 minutes, something like this. Since we did a bit of chatting, I'm going to let this session run over by a few minutes so we can get 4 sessions in. This is the 9th session of the day after all, so there's only one after this. Buckle down. So for those of you who are new, part of the reason that I'm doing circles like this is that I'm keeping my back straight in the appropriate posture, a bit like this, and I'm rotating like this with my hips. And the reason for that is to basically make my legs and my hip joints and everything much more comfortable for sitting. And over the next 5 days, we're going to be doing 5 hours of seated practice, which is actually not that much. But in between, I'm also doing other things for the benefit of the group and so forth. So this is a really, really wonderful technique. It looks extremely simple, but it actually has a very storied and long history. So just making these circles helps to loosen the hips, loosen the back, loosen the shoulders, loosen the neck, and it'll allow you to sit more comfortably and for longer periods of time. So it's a wonderful little technique if you're doing a lot of sitting, which we will be. And this other one that I've been doing is a little bit more complicated, but you start from the bottom of the spine and you twist like this up to the top, and then you let it untwist, and then you go the other way and you twist to the top the other way, and then you let it untwist. So that's this. And that, again, is just loosening off the spine and the neck in between sessions, and also a little bit of the shoulders as well. For those of you who missed the earlier sessions, another little trick of the trade, if you take your thumbs and twist until your thumbs are pointing downwards, and then rotate your arms out, and then just try to relax your shoulders a bit with them in this outward rotated position, you can find the most relaxed position for your shoulders. Then keep your shoulders where they are, and then just move your hands down to your knees or your lap. And that's the best position for your shoulders if you're trying to do a longer session of meditation. Okay, that's our break. Let's do 5 more minutes, and then we will resume at 7 o'clock for the final session of the day. Here we go, starting now. Okay. Join me again in about 25 minutes. We'll pick it up at 7 o'clock. And I believe 7 o'clock is the final session of the day. See you soon.